Limits of the Flesh, Chapter 88, Fantasy Fiction by Azazyel. Micheal and Gabriel's offer. Of flesh and blood in an angel to marry me was obviously something I didn't expect. And I was leery of the offer honestly. As angels were the most alien out of all three supernatural races in the Abrahamic faith. Sure, they were kind almost all of the time. But they had an almost fey outlook upon the world and wanted to do things for the greater good. Gabriel actually spoke up with her voice coming out at a drawl. Angels selling one of their kind off, for holy matrimony. There was a silence before Gabriel spoke the real question. And who would be wedded to the new Lucifer and bring the angels' hope to repopulate naturally to fruition? Micheal closed his eyes, obviously being unwilling to say anything, while Gabriel visibly steeled herself as she spoke seriously. In such a deal, a lesser angel would only be seen as an insult to the Lucifer lineage. And in order to prove our sincerity, I volunteer as I refuse to sell one of my sisters off. When I myself can bring true peace to our races with how the era of war has ended. A bit prideful to say she can bring true peace, isn't it? I thought before taking a breath to calm my mind, as I had too many what-ifs running through my head. Like wondering if this was a trap or just some way to use me before Gabriel would just run off after I changed several angels. But as though already knowing my thoughts, Gabriel spoke. This not a ploy. This is truly myself offering to bring our factions together more permanently while making sure that peace can be paved for the future. I couldn't betray the oaths of marriage that my Father and Creators has blessed. She finished with steel in her tone. I looked to Gabriel for advice and she just shrugged, meaning I was basically on my own. So I answered with the doubt that laid in my mind. I mean, it's rather sudden, to be honest. I finished weakly, and Gabriel smiled gently as she leaned her head forward and said easily. We are well aware of your control over your own race. Which does play a part in why I am willing to accept this. I would very much prefer any children I have to be pure-born angels born of my womb, and I would finally be able to feel some of the joy our own Creator felt in His creation of our races. She spoke impassionedly and my lips twitched as I realized something. Oh. She has a veiled impregnation fetish, but it's less of a fetish and more of just wanting to wholesomely make children while probably in a missionary position, in the dark, and even more wretchedly. While even holding hands so we could feel our wedding rings on the other's hands. Even I knew exactly what I meant. As she shamelessly and bluntly said. Ah. Jake is going to impregnate another. Gabriel's head whipped to the side to look at the utterly repentant visage of EI, who didn't react to the scalding glare from the powerful maid. But the best part was Michael's reaction. He visibly shuddered with his eyes still closed, and then he finally spoke. Not in such a crass way, please. But what say you, Jake Barris, the Red Dragon Emperor? Will you accept an angel as a wife to bring our factions closer and bring peace to the Abrahamic faith? He finished. And at this point, after some time to process all this, I had come to the conclusion that so long as I treated Gabriel well, and she likewise wasn't trying to pull something, there wasn't any loss for me on my side of things, besides just the time spent modifying the angels who were willing to try for childbirth and rearing. I finally nodded with a small smile crossing my face as I looked at Gabriel and spoke softly. Gabriel, although we may not have emotions that other married couples start off with, but we can build those up. Plus I can be just as holy as you. I said with a small wink as I gently radiated some of my unicorn bloodline's holy energy that made both Micheal and Gabriel's eyes widen before Gabriel's eyes became much gentler, as she clearly found this arrangement much more palatable with the holy life aura I radiated before I put it away as I spoke the one true issue I had with this whole deal. The angels and devils can get along, I believe, with them having accepted seeing the bigger picture as well as just living long enough to see the change in devils. But what about the church? They will not be happy seeing heaven and hell coming together in holy matrimony. I finished with a wry smile. And at my question, Micheal swiftly answered firmly. Heaven will rear the church into order. After all, they have as of late fallen into sin and have committed several crimes against humanity and common sense in their experiments. In any case, heaven will focus on the church, while I suggest you as the Lucifer also bring the older devil clans into obedience and make sure that they don't cause the issues in the human world that make exorcists have to go after them. Gabriel smiled stiffly as she said with some disdain. As of the last few centuries anyway. The Church has been more focused on delivering justice upon the monster races like vampires and others that directly feed off humanity. Devils can also be redeemed in their eyes in time, especially if devils join church exorcists with their peerages to hunt monsters. We then spent the next while just discussing and ironing out the details of how we could bring our factions closer together with our more stubborn members in the church and the old devils would need persuading, or in my case, I may very well need to make a dozen devil clans go extinct again to bring the rest of them into order. A soft buzzing rang in Micheal sighed as he looked at the clock and he announced, "The True Peace Conference is in half an hour. Let us retire to gather our thoughts and await Azazyel, who is arriving with Lord Odin."